Hi, it's Michelle here. You might recognise me from Five Fit Home. I'm just waiting for a few more people to get on, and then we'll be doing an art and crafts lesson on how to tie-dye. So I hope everyone's well. I'm just going to wait a little bit till we get to 1 o'clock. So we've got 2 minutes before we start. Hi, someone else has just joined. I can see. We're just going to wait till we get to 1 o'clock and then we're going to start an art lesson on how to tie-dye. So we'll make a start. I'm just going to run through some of the objects and items that you need. So first of all, we'll need a plastic cover for any table that you're working on, or a big piece of newspaper, but stacked really thick so you're not messing up whatever surface that you're working on. And we'll need some gloves, some ink, and we put the ink in these bottles. So any bottles you've got at home that's got a little top like this. Elastic bands, an old piece of clothing. It can be anything like a t-shirt or socks or pants, anything, but it should be light in colour. So it doesn't want to be anything dark, it wants to be as light as you can, preferably white. Some tissue paper to clean up any mess. And also a bucket with some water in. It doesn't need to be too much, just a little bit of water. And you can put it in any container you've got at home, like a lunchbox or a bucket, anything like that. So to start, we need to roll up our sleeves and wear some old clothing because you don't want to get any of the dye on your best clothes. And some gloves so the dye doesn't stain your hands. So start with your item of clothing and make sure it's clean. We don't want any marks or any dirt on it because it'll ruin the dye. And what I'm going to do is fill these little bottles with the ink. So squeeze it like this. And then it should take up the ink. So you want 3 different colours. 2 would work, but 3's best. Any more than 3 probably won't work. So squeeze like this, and then let go, and it will soak the ink up. Forgot to take the top off this one. Just going to shut the window because it's a bit noisy. So you should have your ink bottles filled up with ink, and you can use anything at home, like an old fairy liquid bottle or an old shampoo bottle, just as long as the top's small like this, and you can squeeze it out. And then you're going to take the old item of clothing and put it in the water. This is why it's good to have some plastic down so you don't get your house wet or you don't make a mess on your mum's best table or anything like that. And then squeeze out any excess water. Then lie the item of clothing out as flat as possible. And to create the patterns that we're going to be dyeing, you need to pinch and create a little bump in the material like this. And then grab hold of the bump that you've made and twist. I'll do this again, just so you know for sure. And it makes a little spiral. So we'll do that again. And you can do it in more than one place, so it doesn't have to be in the middle. You can make a few of these little spirals. And once you've made one, once you've made one, tie an elastic band around it really tight. Oh no, that's snapped. So make sure you've got a few elastic bands because it might snap. So we'll start again. Pinch and then twist. And then once you've got the shapes that you want and you feel happy with them, you're going to add the dye. So we'll start off with one colour first. Just going to make sure there's enough dye. And in the part that you've tied with the elastic band, just add the dye. Like I said before, make sure you've got gloves on and make sure there's some plastic or really thick newspaper on the table that you're working on. This material's quite hard for the dye to soak into, but it's still going to work. But if you've got a t-shirt, just like a normal cotton t-shirt or socks or something like that, that would work best. This is an old dress and it's quite thick, the material, so it doesn't soak in as well. And then move on to the second colour. So just make little random splodges with the ink. And then with the second colour, don't go over the same colour again, if possible. It's okay if it goes over a little bit, but try and hit the parts that are still white. You can mix some water in with the ink as well, like I'm doing. That will just make the ink go a bit further. When you're using the ink, make sure that you're always putting the lid back on in case you knock it over. And then I'm going to use the last colour. I'm going to set this aside for a sec. And then I'm going to wipe up the ink that's spilled. This is just to make sure when I put the piece of clothing back on, it won't make any other stains that I didn't want. What you can do now at home is you can leave it out to dry outside, or maybe use a hairdryer or anything like that, anything that you can dry it with, just so it's less messy. So if you use a hairdryer now or set it outside for a little bit, that's going to dry it up quick. But because I'm in here, I won't be able to do that. So I'll just show you what it's like now. And this isn't the final piece. What I'm going to do is see how much ink has worked, and then I'm going to go back over it and do some more. So this is what it looks like so far. I'm quite happy with it, but I want the spiral effect a little bit more to show up, so I'm going to go over it again. So any white patches that are left over, just repeat the process again. So you grab a section, pinch a section like this, and then twist. Twist round like this. My inks have run out now, so I'm just going to fill them up. Oh, what was that? Oops. That's what I'm looking for, the spiral that goes round. If it's coming out a bit more random like this, that's fine as well, but I like the spiral pattern, so I'm going to try and do a bit more of that. So this is just a nice way to recycle old clothes. You could either wear this or cut it up and put it on your wall, anything like that. But what you'll need to do now is once you've finished, put it in the washing machine and then dry it, and then it'll be ready to wear. So once you've finished, make sure that you wash it, because if you don't wash it, the inks will run. And when you wash it, make sure it's the only item in the washing machine, because it could stain other clothes as well. But if you've got the fabric dye, that's fine, it won't really stain other clothes. So I'm just going to clean up this area now, and we're going to do another session on how to make a pillow out of an old t-shirt. So I'm just going to clean all this away. If you're at home going along with with this activity, just clean up and take the plastic off, throw it away, and we'll start the new activity in 5 minutes. Hi to everyone that's just joined us. I'm Michelle and I'm from Firefit Hub. We're going to be doing a new activity now and it is going to use old clothes again. So if you could just get your stuff ready, what you'll need is just an old t-shirt and maybe 2 other items of old clothes. So I've got an old top and an old dress. If the clothes has any like belts and things on like this, just take them off. And you need some scissors as well. So if you're at home, just be careful using sharp scissors. Ask your parents or whoever is in the house which scissors you can use. Don't try anything too sharp and be careful. So you start by laying the t-shirt out flat like this. And make sure the ends are together. And cut along here. So cut the arms, the neck and the sleeves off. And cut both layers as well. Don't just cut through the top, cut through both. If you've got a ruler and a pen, you can draw a line to help you, but I just cut like this. So it doesn't need to be perfect or really straight, it's fine. And then this part, set it aside with the other clothes for later. Just make sure it's really flat. And then cut a square in each corner, like I'm about to do now. They don't have to be identical or anything, just cut any square. About as big as I'm going to show you now. It's nice to use a t-shirt that has like a pattern on the front like this. And then the parts that you've cut away, set them aside with the clothes. On each edge, we're going to cut little tassels, and you want them about this big, like this. And when you're cutting, make sure you cut both layers. So start with the corner once you've cut two sides, and you're going to start tying them together. So two corners. If you need to make them a bit bigger so it's easier to tie, that's fine, just go in. You can do a double knot to secure it, but just for now I'm going to do a single knot because I'm trying to be as fast as possible. So two like this and tie them together. And then once you've done that side, carry on and cut the tassels on the other sides. And then the last side, leave that for now. So you should have 3 sides that have been tied, and then the last side, just leave that for now because we're going to add the filling. We're going to use the parts that we cut out before as the filling. So we're going to cut this into strips. This part can be really messy because we're not going to see. So just keep cutting into little strips about this big. The side that you left should be the bottom or the top, so you can make sure you can get into the pillow. So make sure the side that you leave has got both sides, so not the sides where it's sewn together. As you can see, there's not enough filling in there, so I'm going to cut up the clothes that I showed you before. Make sure that the clothes you're using are old and you don't want them anymore. And ask whoever you live with that you're allowed to do this with clothes. And just keep adding the filling until it's really full up. I only used a single knot, but when you do it at home and you've got more time, make sure you do a double knot because then the filling will not come out. I've got to be really careful that these don't untie. Once you've filled it, then you go along the edge and tie the tassels back together. And then you've got a little pillow for decoration that you can put on your bed or on your shelf. And it's just a good way to use an old t-shirt that would have gone in the bin. So now I'm going to tidy up. I hope you've enjoyed these sessions, and we're going to be doing more next week. We're going to be learning how to weave, how to paint, and a lot of other different activities. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.